I stand up from the couch quickly, leaving my friends Dylan and Mallory sitting there while the party rages around us. I step up to the coffee table and grab a can of beer from one of the boxes on the table, ignoring the promise I made to my mother before leaving the house. Without looking at Dylan or Mallory, I crack the beer and bring it toward my lips. But before I can pour any of the fizzy liquid into my mouth, footsteps pound toward the mansion's sunken living room from the hallway behind me. I spin around to see Ashton come running into the room. It's his party, his house, and his parents who are out of town. But at the sight of him, I'm no longer thinking about the beer in my hand. My eyes go wide. His face is bloody, his clothes are torn. He looks around wildly, as if searching for help, and then bolts around the sunken living room and down the hallway to the kitchen. Those of us in the room who've noticed the strange occurrence exchange glances. Then the sound of more footsteps comes from the hallway. 3 guys from my school race into the living room. There's blood coming out of their noses, and the whites of their eyes are no longer white. They're blood red with broken blood vessels. They stop next to the stairs down to the sunken area. Their arms are held out from their bodies, fingers hooked into claws. They breathe heavily and seem to be flexing their muscles as they stand there, looking at all the stunned partygoers.
"Are you okay?"
a girl named Patricia asks. One of the crazed-looking kids, Greg, walks down the stairs and over toward Patricia, who stands with a couple of other girls on the other side of the coffee table from me. He's not walking normally. His arms don't sway, and his shoulders are hunched forward. She backs up a step as he stops in front of her. "I'm going to kill you," Greg says.
"What?"
Patricia asks, looking shocked.
"That's not funny."
Moving with lightning speed, Greg shoots his hands forward and grabs Patricia by the head. He slams her face down into the glass-topped coffee table. Blood sprays out from her nose and mouth. Patricia's friends scream. Greg lifts her head and slams it down again, sending spiderweb cracks away from the impact point in the glass. Patricia's friends scream. The other partygoers shout in dismay. Then 2 figures come smashing into the glass table right in front of me, shattering the surface as they land on it.
"Mallory's here, Mom!"
I shout, running down the stairs in hopes that I'll make it outside before my mom can get to the door. No such luck. She appears at the bottom of the stairs, not even moving fast, like she's a freaking ninja. How does she do that? She steps in front of the door with a knowing smile on her face.
"Okay, you know the drill. No drinking, no drugs, no sex, especially not the unprotected kind. And no getting into cars with anyone who might have only had 1 little drink or 1 little toke of some reefer, right?" "Mom, I'm just going to Mallory's house. I told you. Her parents don't even drink." "Uh-huh,"
my mom says, clearly knowing something else is up. How does she always know?
"Well, I just want you to be careful if you happen to end up somewhere besides Mallory's house. Okay, Braden? Are we in agreement?" "Yes, Mother,"
I say, hefting my backpack up on my shoulder.
"Good. Now go have some fun. Safe and responsible fun."
She steps away from the door.
"Thanks, Mom. Love you,"
I say, yanking the door open and rushing out onto the porch. I slow down to what I think is a cool walk toward Mallory's car. Well, it's Mallory's mom's car, actually. A Subaru station wagon. But no need to split hairs.
"Hey, Miss Donaldson."
Mallory calls out the driver's window, waving toward my house. She's been my best friend since 1st grade, although I can't help but notice how much she's changed in the last few years. Where once I just saw my friend who happened to be a girl, I now see the beginnings of a beautiful woman. She has a wide, freckled face with large hazel eyes and thick, reddish blonde hair. Her smile gleams with braces that she's supposed to get off this summer. Not that I have romantic feelings for Mallory. She's more like a sister than anything else. But I'm 16, and it would be impossible for me not to notice the changes she's undergone as we race toward adulthood. My mom says hello and tells Mallory to pass the greetings on to her parents. I toss my backpack in the back seat and then jump into the front. We grin at each other as our individual excitement for the night ahead blends and becomes palpable in the confines of the car. Mallory pulls away slowly, driving responsibly because she knows my mom is still watching. We come to a stop sign and then turn left, no longer in view of my house. Up ahead, the headlights pick out Dylan and Leo goofing around on the sidewalk. They're brothers, but they're not blood related. Dylan is a short and thick-boned 16-year-old with fair hair and blue eyes. Leo is also 16, but he's slim and Asian and was adopted by Dylan's parents when he was 2 years old. If it weren't for the physical differences, you would never know they weren't blood related. As we pull up beside them, Leo gives Dylan a shove, sending the shorter boy thumping into the side of the car. Dylan grumbles and kicks playfully at his brother, who dodges out of the way with a laugh.
Let's go,
Mallory says.
Get in the car. We're gonna be late. You took my seat,
Dylan says, looking through the window at me.
I didn't see you sitting in it when I got in. Yeah, but that's only because we had to get out of the car so we didn't tip your mom off,
Dylan complains.
Yeah, well, what little good that did,
I say.
She knew somehow that I wasn't going to Mallory's tonight. You think she'll call my parents?
Mallory asks, eyes full of fear.
No,
I say.
She trusts me not to do anything stupid. We're good.
Dylan still stands outside my window, wanting his seat back. He has a huge crush on Mallory, and everyone knows it. Just as I'm about to open the door and let him have it, Leo grabs his brother around the neck and pulls him into the back seat like a kidnapped victim.
Go!
Leo shouts, hand clamped over his brother's mouth as they lie across the back seat. The back rear door is still open, but as Mallory hits the gas, it shuts on its own. Everyone but Dylan is laughing as we tear down the road, headed to the biggest party of the year.
Are we in the right place?
Leo asks, leaning forward from the back seat. We're stopped at the bottom of a long driveway that leads to a mansion on the top of a low hill. Perfectly manicured grass, dotted with orderly lines of trees, surrounds the mansion. The property is flanked on 3 sides by thick forest. The nearest neighbors aren't visible. The property across the road is nothing but a fenced-off field of grass.
Doesn't look like many people are here,
Dylan says.
This is the address Ashton gave me,
Mallory says, talking about one of the popular kids. When Mallory first told me that Ashton invited her to a party, I figured it was because he wanted to hook up with her. Then she said that she asked if she could bring 3 friends, and Ashton said,
"The more the better."
It seemed strange to me at the time. Now, as I look up at the parking area with its half-dozen cars, it still seems strange. Maybe Ashton thought she was talking about female friends. As Mallory turns the car and starts up the driveway, I figure Leo, Dylan, and I may be turned away at the door. We're not the kind of high schoolers who get invited to a ton of parties. I've never minded all that much. I'm not a fan of drinking or smoking or anything. But there comes a time in every teenager's life when you wonder what it would be like to attend a rager. You get curious.
Let's just see a movie,
Dylan says.
No way,
Leo says to his brother.
Check out this house. I bet there's a pool. And you know what that means?
Dylan says nothing, but Leo continues anyway.
That means girls in their swimsuits.
Mallory directs the Subaru into a parking space on the wide swath of asphalt in front of the house. I recognize a couple of the cars as belonging to kids from school. One of them, a lifted truck with a light rack on the top, belongs to a real gem of a human being named Greg Richards. He's the kind of guy who shows up to school high or drunk, but somehow manages to talk his way out of trouble. He's smooth when he wants to be, and it probably doesn't hurt that half the girls in my high school practically swoon when they see him. Something about the bad boy aesthetic, I guess. He's also a real asshole to anyone he doesn't like, and sometimes to the people who call themselves his friends. Suddenly, I'm not so curious about what it's like to attend a rager. But we're here already, and Mallory seems excited. So we all pile out of the car and walk up the 3 flights of steps to a set of front doors that probably cost as much as Mallory's mom's car. Mallory rings the doorbell. I can hear music coming from inside, mostly the thump of intense bass. The door swings open, revealing one of Ashton's football player friends, a 17-year-old named Grayson who looks like he's 25 and a bodybuilder. He steps out holding a backpack in one hand, eyeing us critically. After a moment, he says,
Phone's in the bag. What?
Leo says, looking at the open backpack Grayson holds out.
You're taking our phones? No phones, no entry,
he says.
Wouldn't want any questionable activity ending up on the internet now, would we?
We all look at each other. Mallory shrugs and takes her phone out, chucking it into the bag. We all follow her lead. Once that's done, Grayson moves aside and lets us enter. We move into the house, hearing excited chatter underneath the bass thrum of the music. I'm busy checking out the interior of the mansion as we walk through. The wide stairwell with artwork along the wall, the archway doors, and the pristine furniture. The voices get louder, and suddenly we're standing next to a sunken living room with several couches facing each other around a massive glass-topped coffee table littered with beer cans and liquor bottles. There are about 20 kids in the room, most of whom I recognize from school. Floor-to-ceiling windows look out on a pool and hot tub set into the back patio. 2 girls and 2 guys sit in the hot tub, each with a drink in hand. Ashton, who's sitting on a couch across from the entryway we stand in, spots us.
Yo, Mal!
He shouts, waving at Mallory.
Come on in, grab a drink.
Mallory and I share a look. Then we glance at Leo and Dylan. Although Dylan seems a little uneasy, I can tell that everyone likes the look of this. So we move down the short set of stairs into the sunken room and move for a free couch. Leo grabs a beer, but the rest of us don't go for any alcohol. We haven't really discussed the plan for the night, but I just assumed Mallory would remain sober to drive us home. I have a learner's permit and I won't be drinking, so I can drive us home if it comes to that. Still, there are many unknowns. This is really the first big party with alcohol we've ever been to, and that's part of the excitement. There are so many possibilities. Granted, not all of them are good, but I try not to focus on the negative potential of the party. Instead, I can't help but focus on the pretty girls that are around. Ashton comes over from his couch and squeezes in next to Mallory. He immediately starts flirting with her, and she smiles widely. I roll my eyes thinking, you can do so much better than Ashton. Yet another reason for me to stay sober. While Mallory might appreciate some attention from Ashton, I know she wouldn't like having something slipped into her drink or being forced into something she's not comfortable with. Then again, I don't think I could stand up to Ashton, who's a year older and much bigger than me. But Dylan and Leo will surely back me up if something does happen, and we need to look out for Mallory. Leo burps, having already finished the beer he snagged.
Man, that's good,
he says, reaching for another.
You want one, Dylan? I don't really feel like getting killed by Dad when we get home,
Dylan says.
So, no, I don't want one. And you better take it easy.
Leo scoffs, cracking another beer. Greg Richards appears from a hallway toward what looks like the kitchen area. He's wearing a brightly colored jacket that looks like it's from the 80s, along with skinny jeans and a tilted baseball cap. He jumps over a group sitting together on the couch. I recognize them as his group of close friends from school. He pulls something out of his jacket pocket and shows it to them. I can't see what it is because his back is to me, but he soon turns around and kneels in front of the coffee table, pushing bottles and cans out of the way. With the space cleared, Greg sets about opening the small baggie he just showed his friends. It's about a quarter of the way full of small pink crystals. As I watch with interest, wondering just what the hell is in that baggie, Ashton suddenly hurries over and stops Greg.
Not here,
Ashton says.
If you're going to do that, you gotta do it upstairs. Why upstairs?
Greg says, clearly not wanting to leave the group.
Because it's my house and I said so,
Ashton says.
Or would you rather just leave? All right, just chill, dude. Show us where to go and we'll go. Follow me,
Ashton says, starting up the stairs out of the living room. Greg and his 4 friends stand up to go, but Greg stops when he sees my group sitting on the couch.
Any of you want to get high?
He asks, dangling the bag next to his face.
What is it?
Leo asks.
It's some new shit. Makes you feel like you're floating. Makes you not stop laughing. They call it cotton candy, spelled with K's. You ever done it before?
Leo asks.
Not yet,
Greg says, smiling.
So come on.
Leo goes to stand up, but Dylan grabs his arm.
No way,
Dylan says.
You don't even know what it is. It's cotton candy.
Leo says, yanking his arm out of his brother's grasp.
Leo, don't!
Mallory says. That makes Leo stop. He glances over at Mallory. I can tell he's not going to do it. We all listen to Mallory. She's the unofficial leader of our little group.
I'll stick to beer for now,
Leo says to Greg.
Let me know how it goes after you try it, if you're still alive.
This last part is a joke, but it doesn't land. Greg's face goes dark.
Fucking pussy,
he says.
You always let bitches do your thinking for you?
I shoot up from my spot on the couch and step toward Greg without thinking. Greg gets up in my face, looking down at me.
You gonna do something, pussy? Yo!
Ashton yells.
Knock it off! You fight in my house, you're gone for good. So are you coming or what?
Greg grins in my face.
We'll finish this later, bitch boy,
he says, turning to go. Baggie of drugs still clutched in one hand. I flop back down on the couch, and my friends look at me.
Dude,
Leo says, slapping me on the chest.
That was a close one. You almost got knocked the fuck out.
I smile until Mallory speaks.
You didn't have to do that,
she says, her tone angry. I turn to her.
He called you a bitch. So what?
She says.
I don't care what anyone calls me, but I will care if you get beat up for trying to stand up for my honor, or whatever the hell that was. If I need your help, I'll ask you. Wow,
I say.
Okay, geez.
Suddenly, I feel like I do want to drink a beer. The party continues while Ashton and the others are gone. I'm so used to having my phone on hand whenever I get bored, I feel strange without it. But at the same time, I understand why they took them. There's all sorts of illegal activity going on around here, and all it would take is one idiot posting a video online to get us all busted. My earlier excitement about attending the party has dissipated considerably, especially because Mallory is mad at me. Leo is the only one in our group who seems to be having a good time. He floats around the room, joking and laughing with the other intoxicated teenagers. I kind of envy him, and as I stew in my unease and boredom, I finally decide that I'm going to break my promise to my mother. I stand up from the couch in much the same way I did to confront Greg 10 minutes ago. Only this time, I step to the coffee table and grab a can of beer from one of the boxes. Without looking at Dylan or Mallory, I crack the beer and bring it toward my lips. But before I can pour any of the fizzy liquid into my mouth, footsteps pound toward the room from the hallway behind me. I spin around to see Ashton come running into the room. His face is bloody, his clothes torn. He looks around wildly, as if searching for help, and then bolts around the sunken living room and down the hallway to the kitchen. Those of us in the room who've noticed the strange occurrence exchange glances. Then the sound of more footsteps comes from the hallway. Greg and two of his friends race into the living room. There's blood coming out of their noses, and the whites of their eyes are no longer white. They're blood red with broken blood vessels. They stop next to the stairs down to the sunken area. Their arms are held out from their bodies, fingers hooked into claws. They breathe heavily and seem to be flexing their muscles as they stand there, looking at all the stunned partygoers.
Are you okay?
A girl named Patricia asks. Greg stalks down the stairs and over toward Patricia, who stands with a couple of other girls on the other side of the coffee table from me. He's not walking normally. His arms don't sway, and his shoulders are hunched forward. She backs up a step as he stops in front of her. I'm going to kill you, Greg says.
What?
Patricia asks, looking shocked.
That's not funny.
Moving with lightning speed, Greg shoots his hands forward and grabs Patricia by the head. He slams her face down into the glass-topped coffee table. Blood sprays out from her nose and mouth. Patricia's friends scream. Greg lifts her head and slams it down again, sending spiderweb cracks away from the impact point in the glass.
Stop it!
Mallory screams. There's a flash of movement. Two bodies slam into the glass coffee table just in front of me, shattering the glass with the impact. I backpedal, involuntarily sitting down on the couch as I see the two figures writhing in broken glass. It takes me a moment to realize it's Dylan and one of Greg's crazed friends, Silas. Silas grabs a triangle of broken glass and stabs it into Dylan's stomach, apparently unmindful of the damage he's doing to his own hand. I drop the opened but full beer in my hands as I get up from the couch. The party is in chaos. People are screaming, including Mallory and Dylan. The third friend who came running into the room with Greg now launches himself at a couple of guys who were trying to make it out the door to the pool and hot tub area. He tackles them both to the floor. I lunge forward and grab Silas's shoulders, yanking him off Dylan. The aggressor swings the piece of glass at me, cutting my throat with it. I stumble back, feeling some pain as I bring my fingers to the wound, eyes wide with fear. I feel blood seeping out from my neck, but I can't tell how bad it is. I'm vaguely aware of Silas turning his attention back to Dylan, stabbing my friend in the chest with the piece of glass. Mallory comes up to me and grabs my hands, yanking them away from my neck.
It's not bad,
she shouts.
You're okay, run!
She pushes me toward the stairs, and I go, glancing back to see that Dylan is limp. I know with undeniable certainty that he's dead. In all the chaos, we've lost track of Leo. I glance around as we race up the stairs, but I see no sign of him. Mallory and I run to the front door. Grayson lies nearby in a pool of blood. Mallory steps over his body, grabs the knob, and turns it, but it doesn't open.
Unlock it!
I scream.
I can't!
She yells back, gesturing at the key-operated lock. I look around for a key hanging on a rack, but see no rack, no bowl with keys in it, and no way to unlock the door. As I think to search Grayson's pockets, there's a clatter from the stairs, and I look up to see Greg's two other friends running down the stairs toward us. Their eyes are completely bloodshot, noses leaking blood, turning their teeth pink as they grimace with effort and determination. We bolt away from the front door, running into a sitting room as the two crazed teenagers chase us. I grab a lamp from a table, yanking the cord from the wall before I throw it at our pursuers. One of them, his name is Paul, knocks it out of the way with little effort. Mallory and I run toward the back of the house, going through rooms we haven't seen before until we make it to the kitchen. The back door stands wide open. I can hear screaming from the living room, and as we run toward the open door, I glance down the hallway to see Leo limping toward the kitchen. I stop and yell at Leo to run. There's a huge figure behind him, half obscured, but I'm pretty sure it's Greg Richards, given his bright jacket and large stature.
What are you doing?
Mallory screams, already halfway out the back door. Before I can answer, she bolts back into the house, grabbing a glass liquor bottle from the kitchen counter. She throws it at the floor in front of our pursuers, Paul and Ian. The bottle shatters just a moment before Ian and Paul step foot in the kitchen. Paul, who's in the lead, slips on the glass and goes down hard. Ian trips over him and sprawls on the glass-covered floor. Mallory grabs another bottle and steps forward, hitting Ian in the head with it. There's a loud thump, and Ian goes limp, face down on the floor. Leo screams, and I glance back at the hallway, seeing that Greg Richards is straddling my friend. He's shoving something into Leo's mouth, and I only realize what it is as Mallory yanks me toward the back door. It's the drugs, the pink crystals that have made Greg and his friends go insane. As Greg shuts Leo's jaw with both hands, he glances up at me.
Bitch boy! Bitch boy!
He cries, then laughs insanely.
Let's go!
Mallory says, yanking me out the back door. I glance over my shoulder and see that both Ian and Paul are out cold. Mallory must have knocked Paul out while I was paying attention to Leo and Greg. We move back down the steps and go across a large patio with outdoor seating. I glance around the backyard, noting the 12-foot-high stone walls. Heading around the side of the house, we come to a huge metal gate that's secured with a padlock.
We can't get out!
I say, panic tightening its grip on me. Mallory yanks me back the other way, along the side of the house and into the backyard.
There's another house,
she says, pointing to a small bungalow near the back of the property. We run toward it.
Bitch boy!
Glancing over my shoulder, I see Greg sprinting toward us from the house. We reach the bungalow, but the door's locked. Mallory bangs on it and screams for help. A familiar face appears at one of the small windows set in the upper portion of the door. It's Ashton.
Let us in!
Mallory screams.
Let us in!
Ashton hesitates, his eyes going up to Greg, who's closing in fast.
Let us in, goddammit!
Mallory screams. Ashton unlocks the door, allowing us to tumble inside before shutting and locking it. A moment later, there's a frightening thump as Greg slams into the door.
Bitch boy, I'm gonna kill you!
What is wrong with them?
Mallory asks.
What the hell were those drugs?
Ashton shakes his head.
They said it would be safe,
he says.
They said no one would get hurt. Who said that?
Mallory asks as she gets to her feet. I follow suit, looking around to see several other teenagers huddling in the bungalow's modest living room.
I didn't know this would happen, Ashton says. I didn't know.
Greg stops banging on the door. All of us look in that direction, knowing it's not the end of this.
The windows,
Mallory says.
He'll break through. Is there a back exit from the property? We need to get out of here.
Ashton shakes his head.
It's all locked. My dad's paranoid. It's all locked and I don't have the keys. You don't have a key to your own front door? Grayson has it,
Ashton says. One of the living room windows shatters as a patio chair flies through. Everyone screams as we move toward the back of the small house. Ashton, Mallory, and I bring up the rear, even as Greg climbs through the window behind us. We run down the hall toward the back door of the bungalow, but Ashton stops and opens a door.
In here,
he says. We pile into what is a small laundry room with storage shelves built into the back wall. Ashton shuts the door behind us. He yanks a towel off a pile on a shelf and throws it down at the base of the door before turning on the light. Then we all freeze, looking at the door as footsteps come rushing past. When the footsteps fade, Ashton pushes past us and uses the built-in shelves to climb up to an attic access hatch in the ceiling. He pushes the hatch aside, climbs up, and then gestures for us to follow. Mallory and I look at each other, knowing we don't have much of a choice. Maybe we can hide out until the police come or the drugs wear off. Mallory climbs up first, and I follow her up. Once we're all three in the attic, perched on joists, Ashton replaces the hatch. "Careful," he whispers, pointing at the spaces between the joists, which are all filled with insulation. "You'll fall through if you step off the wood." "No shit," Mallory says. I can hear screaming from outside, and I know that all those people who came into the bungalow with us are being attacked. Ashton may have saved our lives by bringing us up here. We stay where we are, listening, terrified, squatting on the wooden joists. Several minutes pass and the screaming dies down, which doesn't make me feel better. But maybe if they have no one else to attack, they will leave.
Oh, bitch boy,
Greg calls out from somewhere in the house below.
where are you?
Mallory and I look at each other through the gloom. There's no way he knows we're up here, I think. No way. Then I look over to Ashton, who's twitching, his eyes rolled up into his head. I point at him, and Mallory looks over. She reaches a hand out and grabs his shoulder, shaking him. He doesn't respond. Suddenly, his eyes slam shut and he stops twitching. A moment later, his eyes open, but they're now changed. The whites of his eyes are gone, disappeared under burst blood vessels. I remember the way Greg shoved the pink cotton candy crystals into Leo's mouth back in the house. I assume something similar happened with Ashton before he came running downstairs earlier. Maybe it takes several minutes for the drugs to kick in. I grab Mallory's arm as I stand up from my crouch, bent over in a low-ceilinged attic. Ashton stares at us with his bloodshot eyes, the tendons in his neck standing out, fingers curling into claws. Carefully, keeping our feet on the wooden joists, Mallory and I move away from him. Not that there's anywhere to go. I can't see any other attic access panels up here. Ashton shouts something unintelligible and jumps toward us. His feet slip off the wooden joist, and he bursts through the floor, grabbing hold of Mallory's leg as he does. Mallory screams as she's pulled down into the house below through the hole in the sheetrock. "Mallory!" I shout, looking down through the hole. I see her scramble to her feet in the bedroom below, running out of the room as Ashton struggles to get up. It looks like he broke an ankle on the fall. She runs out of the bedroom and out of my sight, but then I hear her scream. Moving quickly over the joists in the attic, I go to the place over where I think her scream came from. I get down on my knees and punch a hole through the drywall between the joists. Looking through the hole, I can see that Greg has Mallory on the kitchen floor. He wraps his hands around her neck and starts to throttle her. I get to my feet and jump between the joists, crashing through the ceiling and landing on Greg amid a rain of insulation and chunks of drywall. But in hitting Greg, I accidentally knock his head into Mallory's, knocking her unconscious. Greg's hands come away from her throat as we come to rest against the kitchen counter. I waste no time, punching Greg in the face as hard as I can while he's still dazed. I feel something crack in my hand, but Greg's head smacks against the cabinet and his eyes close as he goes limp. Before I can stand up, Ashton attacks me from behind, smashing me face first into the cabinets next to Greg. I throw an elbow over my shoulder, hitting Ashton with a glancing blow to the head that knocks him back momentarily. Reaching up to the counter with my left hand, I grab the first thing I touch, which is a toaster. I rip the appliance toward me, feeling the cord yank out of the wall. and then I twist around, hitting Ashton in the face with it. He falls back, unconscious. Getting to my feet with the toaster still in hand, I go over to Mallory. She's still unconscious, so I put the toaster on her chest and drag her with my left hand into the nearby bedroom, shutting and locking the door behind us. In the limited light coming through the window, I inspect my right hand and see that it's already swelling. I likely broke something when I punched Greg in the face, but I still have the toaster. I grab it and sit protectively in front of Mallory, waiting for someone to come through the door. There's yelling coming from outside, I just now notice, and among the shouting is one word that's like music to my ears.
Police!
Thanks for fighting for me,
Mallory says to me.
Literally fighting for me.
We're sitting in a hospital room. Mallory is in a bed, and I'm sitting in a chair beside her. My right hand is in a brand new cast, and I have a bandage over the shallow cut on my neck. I shrug.
Sorry for knocking you out with Greg's head.
Mallory snorts laughter at that. I smile.
How's Leo?
She asks.
They think he'll be okay, but they still want to do a bunch of tests,
I tell her.
The drugs have long since worn off, but they don't know what lasting effects it might have.
Mallory nods. There's a long moment of silence before she asks,
And Dylan?
I shake my head.
Shit,
she says, clearly fighting back tears.
Yeah. What the fuck was that?
She says, anger in her voice.
Did you find anything else about it? Just rumors so far,
I say.
Stuff I've heard secondhand. Don't know how true it is, but apparently some mysterious men approached Ashton, offering to pay him a bunch of money to get his friends to try cotton candy. So that's what he did. Who the hell would do that? They had to know what that shit would do to people. It's like bath salts, but 100 times worse.
I shrug.
I don't know. The cops are looking for them, I guess. But if you want to know what I think, it was probably some government guys looking to test their drugs under the table. Can you imagine feeding that stuff to soldiers on a battlefield? Or just spiking the enemy's water supply with it and watching them tear each other apart? Ugh,
Mallory says.
That's horrible. Yeah,
I say.
But watch. I bet the official narrative will be that it was a bad batch of some new designer drug, and that will be that. Whatever. I don't ever want to think about that shit again. I'm sure the next party we go to will be better,
I say. Mallory's eyes go wide.
Next one? Are you kidding me?
I smile.
I mean, it sucks about Dylan and the others, but that was kind of fun, wasn't it?
Mallory just stares at me.
I mean, I got to beat up Ashton and Greg Richards. I'm a fucking legend now.
Realizing I'm joking, Mallory rolls her eyes.
Yeah, everyone's going to start calling you Toaster.
Suddenly, my mother rushes into the room and wraps me in a hug.
You're never going to another party again, Braden,
she says.
Never.
Mallory and I look at each other and fall to laughing. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy these stories, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and check out some more of my episodes here.